The future of America is looking worse each day. If something really bad happens, are you prepared to protect your family? If not, My Patriot Supply is the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed with 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. So don't wait. Go to preparewithbill.com for more info. Good evening. I'm still reporting on the coup. And I need my microphone, I think, because it's not going to sound very well otherwise. So let's start over. Good evening. I'm still reporting on the coup. It sounds insane, but according to news reports, the largely illiterate Taliban with their cell phones are better organized and have better information than the U.S. government run by Joe Biden. Axios reports the Taliban have been conducting advanced mapping of individuals prior to the takeover of all major cities. According to Axios, the Taliban has priority lists of people, including those in the Afghan intelligence service, special operations forces, police, and the armed forces. The Taliban is not sitting in some bunker with these lists, but sending soldiers out on door-to-door searches, and if the individuals they are seeking are not found, they are threatening family members. So the Taliban that Biden has portrayed as a bunch of disorganized primitive people that couldn't possibly defeat the Afghan military with all of its U.S. equipment and training was doing what the U.S. government should have started doing once the decision was made to pull out. Even if Biden actually believed that he could suddenly withdraw all U.S. support of the Afghan military and have it operate as effectively as it did with U.S. support, which is an insane idea, someone in the Biden White House should have had the good sense to prepare for the worst. The old saying is, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. In the Biden administration, that was altered to hope and believe in the best and completely ignore any other possibility. So the Taliban has lists of people who supported and worked for the U.S., or the U.S. supported Afghan government, and the U.S. has no such list. I wonder who provided them with that list. My guess would be that it did not come from Afghan sources. Why? Too highly classified. In the long ago pre-Biden era, intelligence agencies would have considered it treasonous activity to even mishandle such a list, much less turn it over to the enemy. So now the Taliban is going door to door with a perfectly accurate list, seeking these people out, and the U.S. position is that if these people can somehow fight their way to the airport, then there is a chance that the U.S. can get them out of Afghanistan if they've managed to arrive with the proper paperwork. Debacle doesn't do this situation justice. Biden is not now and never has been very smart. He was known among his colleagues as the dumbest man in the Senate until he was promoted to vice president. Certainly his diminished mental capacity has not helped, which means that Biden is not calling the shots. The odds are that Biden would have gotten something right even if it was by accident. He could have kept some troops in Afghanistan instead of pulling 2,500 out and then flying 6,000 back in. He could have kept what was been termed the most secure airfield in the world, Bagram, open instead of closing it down and moving operations to the highly insecure airport in Kabul, where any plane can easily be shot out of the sky. He could have realized what was happening after a couple of provincial capitals fell and beefed up security for Kabul. There were countless decisions, and in each case the White House made the wrong one. Biden says that the consensus was that the Taliban would take over the country by the end of the year. If that was the consensus, shouldn't a detailed plan of how to withdraw from the country with honor have already been drawn up and the process of implementing it already begun? Wouldn't finding out exactly how many American citizens were in the country and where they were have been at the top of that list? Shouldn't those Americans have been given information on what to do if Kabul fell earlier than the consensus anticipated? We now know that in-country, State Department officials warned that Kabul was going to fall much sooner than the folks in Washington anticipated. Shouldn't it have been taken into account that Americans on the ground in Afghanistan might know more than people sitting in plush offices drinking frappuccinos in Washington? Shouldn't the U.S. have had a complete list of everyone who needed to be evacuated along with American citizens? Why wasn't there a plan on how to help American citizens and Afghan nationals get out of the country if the pointy-headed experts in Washington turned out to be off by, 4 months or so? If the consensus was that they had until the end of the year, was the plan to wait until Christmas and then begin to consider appointing a committee with the appropriate diversity to initiate discussions on how to withdraw? It's unlikely the American people will ever find out who is responsible for planning this immense human tragedy, but it is a group who hates the United States of America at least as much as the Taliban. I'm still reporting from the soon-to-be restored Citadel of World Freedom. Good day.